right, let's call over the Board of County Commissioners for Monday, August 18th, 2025. Roll call.
Here. Commissioner Dunkerley.
Here.
Commissioner Sims.
Here. First item on the agenda is going to be announcements. Alex, Highway and Engineering.
I'm a little nervous now.
You're live. You're live.
And we're redecking Bridge 187 on 185th Street South in District 3. There's also a project unrelated to Tulsa County directly, the OTA project, that they're the Hoopty bridges.
Oh, yeah.
We've been working with their design teams and contractors. They're going to be starting that project in not too distant future. We're working with them on access roads to get up under those bridges. So as I have more information for the commission, I'll forward that on, but that project's about to start.
Very good. Thank you, Alex. Yeah, Kathy, HR.
I just want to let you know that salary increase letters went out today. They're effective this week on August 21st. And so thank you again for the commissioners to provide that to our employees. The letter will be going just to BOCC employees.
Very good. Thank you, Kathy. Any further announcements? Nothing, Matt?
Well, I can always give you one. Sure.
Matt, Parks?
Yeah, rec center's open up today. Again, 7 days operation. That's effective today, so I'm excited to be able to serve 7 days a week there. We've got quite a few events in September coming up. We've got Monarchs out at Chandler. That'll be a good 3,000-4,000 folks end up out there at the end of the month. And at the same time, we have fall baseball prepping out there at O'Brien Park, getting ready for that. Noah had some of their first football games this weekend, so looking forward to some good tackle football out at O'Brien as well. So,
Very good. Thank you, Matt. All right. Commissioner?
Nothing from me, sir.
Clerk?
no sir.
Expo Square, you bet. Got the Reigning Classic coming up August 23rd to 31st. Maker Fair, Tulsa, August 23rd, and then Tulsa Flea Market, August 23rd. So lots going on.
All right, very good. Thank you. I will say we do have a zoning hearing, so anyone here to speak on with respect to that, there is a sign-up sheet up front. So feel free to come up, sign your name, address, phone number, and we'll make sure we get you called on. With that, no further announcements. We'll move on to the agenda. First up is minutes, Board of County Commissioners meeting for August 11th, 2025.
Move approval. Second.
Salee.
Yes.
Dunkerley.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes. Next up, Board of County Commissioners special meeting for August 13th, 2025.
Move to approve.
Second.
Salee.
Yes.
Dunkerley.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes. Item 5, reports to accept and file. We have A and B.
Move to approve, accept, and file.
Second.
Salee.
Yes.
Dunkerley.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes. Next item, unfinished business. We have A, 1, and 2. These are amendments.
Move to approve the amendments.
Second.
Salee.
Yes.
Dunkerley.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes. Next up, action items. A, resolution on disposition of funds, cash fund, estimate of needs, and this is 7/17 through 8/13/2025.
Move approval.
Second.
Salee.
Yes.
Dunkerley.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes. Next item, item B is a MOU agreement, engineer's request with the Cherokee Nation.
Move to approve.
I have a couple questions on this, Chairman.
Sure, Commissioner.
I may not have gotten a chance to talk with the engineer about this, but I just wanted to, and last I checked on some of the information for the meeting, I didn't see the location on there. I may have missed it again, but do we have locations of the roads that we're talking about on this?
This is an annual thing we do with them that allows us to partner with them on the roads on their network. There are no specific projects in mind with this MOU. It just allows us to work with them over the calendar year.
So those will be identified at a later date,
Correct, sir. Yes. If any.
if in.
Is that typically when we get funding, like there's opportunity to capture federal funding that they have available? Is that typically what we see?
It could be for that, or it could be just if there are road projects they want to partner up with us on, any nature of project that they'd like to join with us on.
Very good.
And kind of a related, just not just this agreement, but others of similar nature. Do you have a schedule, expected schedule when we may be doing interlocal agreements and when that might be happening and where the crews will be?
So are you talking about a schedule of when interlocal agreements would be offered to us? And are you talking about a schedule of our current interlocals planned? Both?
Actually, both, but the first
The first one is, the first one is, when they get offered to us is somewhat independent, and the Cherokees do it on an annual basis. As far as various interlocals with the municipalities, it's just determined by interaction with the commissioners or their needs. As far as our current interlocal projects and what those schedules are, I don't have that information right in front of me, but I can get it to you today for sure.
Okay. Main reason I'm asking that is we just had a conversation about how tight we are right now with the current crews and, discussions about bidding certain projects. Some of them could be county projects themselves, not even interlocals, and so we have an issue where equipment, manpower, woman power, those are issues that we gotta balance out, and the schedule would be very, very useful to look at all the different things we need to look at.
Understood and happy to provide.
Second the motion?
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes. Next item, request for approval. We have 1 through 4.
Move to approve?
Second?
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes. Item D, request for public hearing. This is an INCOG request for Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025, 8:30 a.m. This is Tulsa County Home Consortium and the CDBG Urban County Programs Annual Performance Report to authorize publication in Tulsa World.
Move to approve?
Second?
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes. Item E, signed contractor's bond. This inspections request.
Move approval?
Second?
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes. Item F, agreements 1 through 3. No questions. I'll entertain a motion.
I can make a motion to approve agreements 1 and 2.
Second?
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes. Item 3 is a parks request. We have A through F. Questions, Commissioner?
I have a question on item 3A with the marketing. I know Matt's here. We've had a report on the work that the Bear Agency Group is doing. I think all the commissioners have been involved in that as well at various times. And I know they've developed information. When I saw this on the agenda, we had a parks update just last Thursday at management conference, and this wasn't mentioned that I recall. So I'm kind of wondering, is there something new with this, or why wouldn't we discuss it last Thursday, or maybe we can discuss it now?
Yeah, the plans with admin services as well as ourselves, we sat down with Bear after the fact and had next step conversations as to what would be best for us as we looked at those next steps for a common brand. And this would be that next step of that proposal, basically to bring those guys forward and with us and admin services using those county resources to look at basically a final destination.
Okay. And just kind of building on that, we're talking about a common brand, we're talking countywide or board county commissioners branding. That's a little bit different than branding for parks alone or
It's
signs.
park specific. I mean, those park specific items that we discussed, those commonalities that we found amongst all three commissioners, as well as through Matthew and his team, with the capacities that we have from a design perspective there. This would get us to a place of commonality amongst parks that may not necessarily be every sign the same, but to have some common themes lifting it up as a Tulsa, as a Tulsa County park, as a means and method, logo versus big logo, small logo, give us those next steps, using a design professional along with our team to accomplish that work so that we can move forward with branding across all parks that would be representative of parks that we have.
And that's based upon the interviews that they had done with all
Yes,
three of
this-
us and other county officials.
Yeah, so this would be basically next steps.
Yeah.
It was an actively moved there. We've got some temporary things that we are working on. Brian, as well as Hank, here, two things that I'm working on actively right now with admin services, as well as some other folks within the county to get some signage out there based on that feedback. But that won't be the final destination. This is to get a short-term and long-term plan to best support that. Hank Creek has no signage, and Brian has no signage. I need to address those pretty promptly outside of this, but this conversation with Mayor does build upon that, Commissioner, as an opportunity there, as the next steps with their organization to best support that work with the admin services as well.
Move approval of agreements 3A through F.
Second.
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes. Next item is item G, agreement renewals. We have 1 through 4.
Move to approve.
Second.
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes. Item H, inventory resolutions 1 through 3.
Move to approve.
Second.
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes. Item I, utility permits. This is the engineer's request. We have 1 and 2, Cox and 1 gas.
Move to approve the permits.
Second the motion.
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes. Item J, travel and training. We have 1 and 2 here.
Move to approve travel and training.
Second.
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes. Item K is the claims.
Move to pay the bills.
Second.
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes. Item L is payroll claims. This is the biweekly for 7/26 through 8/8/2025.
Move to approve.
Second.
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes. Item M is blanket purchase orders and emergency purchase orders.
Move to approve.
Second.
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes. Item N is consideration approval of construction program payments. We have 1, 2, and 3. This is Vision 2025, Vision Tulsa County, and TCIA.
Motion to approve the payments.
Second.
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes. Item O is juvenile detention home update to accept and file for August 6th through the 13th, 2025. Director, good to have you back.
Morning, Commissioner.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Commissioners. A couple of things I want to report. Transportation, we just had a couple medical runs, had no issues with those. Our staffing is, you can see on the report, we interviewed 2, terminated 2, and hired 2. So it was a good week. No pun intended. Next week, Ms. Lewis and I will be attending training with the American Correction Association to start our process for our ACA accreditation. We have filed notice for that, as I've previously reported. Once we achieve that standard, it will be an accreditation that very few juvenile detention facilities have, and I think it'll move us to the next step that we're looking for and make us one of the flagships across this nation. So we're really looking forward to that. So appreciate the support in getting us there. Having said that, Shalonda Powell will be acting in my absence, and she will be attending the meeting next week and providing the update.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to accept and file.
Second.
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly,
Yes.
Sims,
Yes. Next item on the agenda is item P. This is the zoning application hearing and possible action, TMAPC CZ 566. Applicant is Alan Beckham, owner of Spring Hill Farms LLC. This is a 38.48 acre tract, looking at rezoning from AG to RS2 single family for half acre residential subdivision. Again, there is a sign-up sheet up front for anyone wishing to speak on this zoning application. Any anyone here to introduce the application?
We need to enter the public hearing.
Make a
Okay,
motion
good.
to go into public hearing?
Second.
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes.
Good morning.
Just name and address for the record.
Oh, well, I'm the planner for the case. I didn't know if I needed to introduce it or anything.
That'd be
Oh,
great if you
okay.
could.
Kendall
Yeah.
Davis, 2 West 2nd Street. Before you, we have a rezoning from AG to RS2 for a single-family, half-acre residential subdivision. This application was approved through Planning Commission. Staff recommended approval, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Very good. Any questions from the commission? Thank you, Kendall.
Thank you, guys.
Very good. Thank you, Deputy. First up on the sign-up sheet, I have Valerie. Is it Cole? Coble? Come on up, Valerie. Good, just, I've got your name and address here, so we're good on that.
Okay. Okay, so we are here today to ask you to deny the residential zoning request and keep it agricultural to match the existing landscape on our street. I spoke to the developer who bought the land, and the acreage in question today is 38 acres. However, he bought a full 90 acres that sits on a 50-foot hill and spans west towards Peoria. And he confirmed with me that his plan is to develop this first 38 acres with 54 homes, and within the next 6 months, he will develop phase 2 of the neighborhood with another 54 homes. So this area presented today will actually be a total of 108 homes, not 54. Our road, Lewis Avenue, stops at 171st, and it does not go through to 181st, so we have very little traffic right now. Plopping 108 homes on top of a 50-foot hill in the middle of an established 4 to 20 acre lot homeowner community raises the following concerns. Basically, water and safety. It is a steep elevation change. A 2018 topographic map shows that there's a 40-foot elevation change over a 40-foot distance right off the west side of Lewis where this neighborhood is going. The hill that this neighborhood will be built on is 50 foot above elevation from the east side of the road of Lewis. This is a 1-to-1 ratio for elevation change. Every foot west, it climbs 1 foot high over a 40-foot distance. It's another 10-foot drop off right on the east side of the road where our houses are. Stormwater runoff. All the properties east of Lewis already get stormwater runoff, and it's horrible. But with the number of houses and less soil surface area to absorb the water will be running 50 foot downhill into our lots towards our homes. The plat currently shows no retention pond to collect this water running downhill to Lewis, so this will lead to more cracks in our driveways and potential slab damage of our homes. The aerobic tanks. There will be 108 tanks saturating the ground with poop water that, when combined with stormwater, will run downhill directly into my neighbor's property and into the pond that is shared between them and our lots. The pond is fished by our friends and families, and no one wants to eat fish that is swimming in a pond contaminated with chlorinated or not chlorinated poop water. This is our wildlife's food and water source too, and we don't want this food and water source unnecessarily poisoned from this toxic runoff waste. My neighbors have chickens in a garden, and we also have an organic garden that we've gone to a lot of trouble building, and we certainly don't want toxic poop water from 108 families draining into our organic food supply that we feed our children from. My next concern is safety. Increased traffic, driving incidents and risk, and crime law enforcement protection. Right now, I spoke to Tulsa County Sheriff's Office, and they currently have no law enforcement units assigned to South Tulsa County, which is our area. All units have been assigned to North and West Tulsa, and they do have a rover unit, which typically has 1 to 2 officers assigned during the day, none at night. These 2 officers field calls for all parts of Tulsa County. They are not dedicated to the south, so they could be near Skiatook and would have to drive an hour to our location to protect us if we were in danger. Right now, there are very few of us out here, but if you add 108 homes and families, that brings hundreds more opportunities for home invasions, burglaries, and other crimes that neighborhoods often bring. They also confirmed that there is usually not any officer assigned from the rover team at night when the crime usually happens, so no one will be out there to protect us. Tulsa County does not have enough law enforcement protection to support this growth in South rural community, which is rapidly trying to turn agricultural Greene County into packed suburban housing outside city limits. The increased traffic with 108 homes and an average of 2 cars per household driving to and from work Monday through Friday, and weekend traffic of getting in and out for get-togethers will yield at least 432 vehicle trips every day on a road that our houses currently sit on, where my 3 children play, as well as other children on this mile stretch. That's 432 risks every day, over 2,000 vehicle risks per week, and over 112,000 vehicle risks per year that now my family and our neighbors will be exposed to once the neighborhood is fully developed. Not only that, but there will be risk imposed from battling home construction vehicles and equipment traffic that will negatively impact the road, causing need for repairs over the next 5 to 10 years as homes are built to fill the neighborhood. My husband is going to talk about wildlife and some of the hills, but I wanted to say in closing, we are pleading for you to take our concerns to heart and respect our existing community and agricultural conditions and leave this 38 acres and the additional 50 acres that will be requested next zoned as agricultural land so that homes that do build have a minimum lot size of 2 acres, hopefully more like 4 to 10 acres to match the existing landscape, but will take 2. Building any kind of neighborhood on this 50-foot hill, even if it becomes less homes, must have a water retention plan that will catch all runoff before it flows downhill into our lots east of Lewis. Please leave this rural agricultural community as that, rural, agricultural, and spread out. Adding that many homes to an area that does not have city sewage, cramming 108 aerobic septic tanks onto this 50-foot hill that will run downhill is not rural. We deeply urge the developer to relocate this neighborhood or at least do 2 to 4 to 10 acre lots to match the existing landscapes.
Thank you, Ms. Coble. Next up, we have Tyler Coble. Thank you, Tyler. I'm assuming you're at the same
Good morning.
address.
I'm sorry. Yes, sir. The wildlife out here, what we're talking about is very rural. There's deer, there's turkey, there's coyotes, there's bobcats, there's all sorts of things. So they're always crossing roads. The turkeys will literally walk in front of the vehicles as you're driving. You have to stop and try to get around them. The risk of hitting the wildlife, of course, with that many more vehicles is going to be, a big problem. Last year, someone hit a deer outside of our house, and of course, it was left there, and so we had to call and see how we'd get rid of it. So we'd have to pay to have the deer carcass removed. The smell of the rotting carcass was definitely a sight. We didn't want our children to smell and see. So with the increase of 112,000 vehicle trips per year, when someone hits a deer, and they will, someone's going to have to pay for it, and it's not really right to put it on the homeowners that are already existing, living in the area. The hills are pretty steep. Lewis off of 151st and 171st has this really steep, large drop-off, which poses a problem, especially during ice and rain. It can lead to increased vehicle accidents, potentially blocking Lewis and raising more problems for people to be able to get to their home or vacate their home during an emergency. The school bus route, bus stops directly on Lewis at 173rd. At the bottom of the hill, teenagers getting out of school, driving into the new neighborhood at the same time will be encountering children literally standing here on Lewis. So you're asking for a lot of problems, and we definitely don't want our children injured or even drivers, to be distracted, and that will become a disaster. Like my wife said, with that many homes on the hill, with the aerobic tanks, you put in the chlorine tablets. Who's going to make sure they put in chlorine tablets? Because all that runoff first of all, I don't want chlorine all in my yard either, but, you know, we all have it in portions of it where the sprinklers are. But all that runoff, if they're not using chlorine tablets, then it's, like my wife said, we just have a bunch of poop water coming into our yard, into our vegetable gardens, our children's play areas. And ultimately, just, if they're going to build, they just keep it where it is, to where they have larger lots and not have so many homes, and try to minimize all that we can. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Jason Morgan. I'll just confirm your address, 16757 South Lewis Avenue, Bigsby. Is that correct? Thank you, Jason.
Thank you. Thank you for your time this morning. I did send over a video to hopefully give some perspective, and that's really what I hope to do here today. My neighbors have adequately described the concerns that we have. I really want to paint the picture of our community and what we have in front of us today. Fully support free enterprise and a capital market to be able to support developers and homeownership, and additionally provide other homeowners an opportunity to have a rural lifestyle that is out a ways outside of city limits. And we understand that, you know, this could be remained as agriculture. It could also be rezoned as agricultural R, which would allow for 1 acre lots, because that is a differentiation of traditional suburban in-home areas versus an agricultural lifestyle, to paint a picture of the character. One thing you'll notice is, you know, south of the river on Lewis, there are no other developments on Lewis Avenue. Lewis Avenue actually dead ends at 171st Street. So today, that is not a thoroughfare. So speaking of the road issues and the safety issues, this will significantly change what is happening on that road. Within our corridor, as mentioned, the smallest acreage is 4 acres. There's another adjacent development that the acreages are 4 acres, and so there are additional homes going in. There's a video playing. I'm not sure if you're able to see it there. I want to talk about 3 things. As mentioned, the stormwater runoff, the roads, as well as the maintaining green country as green. As mentioned, there's a 35 to 45 foot drop off on the hill. I live directly across the street from this, so this is actually impacting me the most. So there's some personal investment here. This hill was actually fully forested until the developer recently removed every single tree. So now not only the sediment runoff that's occurring that has now filled my ditch where I can no longer maintain vegetation control, but now the water, if you add pavement to that, can only be exacerbated coming down the hill. You know, there are tin horns there, and Brian Malone and that team, I'll tell you, Mr. Dunkley, they do a great job. Anytime that those tin horns are filled up, they're out there, they're addressing our concerns. So I really do appreciate what Brian and his team is doing for us. You know, I would encourage you all to ask for an independent engineering study as it relates to wastewater runoff, because I think this will be a bigger issue for the county to maintain over time. I think it's important that this be attained from an independent engineer, not just from the word of the developer, but for you all's sake, as a county being good stewards of the resources in the future of what's going to occur given the amount of wastewater runoff that is occurring and erosion that's already being seen. 2 years ago, I had to actually go get sandbags to keep water from coming into my property and divert that as well. Next, we'd like to talk about the roads. And again, to paint a picture of the elevation rise and drop going up and down Lewis, imagine nearly the height of Turkey Mountain and a very quick rise and fall there twice from 151 coming south. So you can imagine the high rate of speeds. These houses all have a frontage that is greenscaped with trees, and so you can imagine people coming down a hill quickly. It's happening today, but as I mentioned, this is not a thoroughfare because it dead ends at 171st Street. Additionally, because these are on significant hills, the roads are starting to wear off on the edges, and just in the 3 years that I've lived in this area, they've had to be repaired twice. And so this is different than what we see over on Harvard, just to south of 151st Street. It's more significant as these hills rise and fall, and it's only going to get exacerbated. Additionally, as we think about the current, there's a single ingress and egress in and out of this neighborhood. Additionally, this aligns directly in front of my driveway, so it is going to create not only the noise, the light pollution of headlights shining in my front door every night when people are coming in and out. Obviously, we'll be placing additional vegetation and landscaping, but also creates a safety issue with that many cars coming in and out directly across from our driveway. And would ask that if these go in, that the driveway be moved down just to create a better safety situation for all. Well, lastly, I just want to urge you all to consider to keep Green Country Green, provide other opportunities to have a rural way of lifestyle. Half-acre lots are readily available a few miles over. There are multiple neighborhoods that have half-acre lots. However, this is a unique opportunity to bring more residents to Tulsa. This is what brought me to this area, is to be able to have the opportunity for acreage and not be in a small subdivision. I'll also note that recently Bixby denied another neighborhood just a few miles over from moving in as well. So there is a shared perspective of this rural lifestyle within the that part of the community. Lastly, I would also ask that, if this is approved, if there's anything that can be done to maintain the greenscape frontage that is similar with the area, because this is, as you'll notice in other subdivisions well within Tulsa, there are requirements to maintain trees, walls, and these other things to be consistent with the area. And already, all the trees have been bulldozed out, taken out, and you can see from the pictures that it is not aligned. It sticks out very inconsistent with the greenscapes in the area. So at the very least, we would ask that the developer have greenscapes to keep that part of the area consistent. What I would encourage you today to think about is that once this decision is made, its irreplaceable value cannot be changed. This decision is permanent, and you're providing an opportunity for others to come to Tulsa that could be more attractive than the multiple subdivisions that are across the area. And I'd like to provide any opportunity to answer any questions that you might have. Oh, lastly, I apologize. There's a picture, you notice there's significant standing water in the road, if you notice that. That has not changed, and you can see there are cars flying through there, and that's creating a significant issue as well.
Very good. Thank you, Jason.
Couple
Commissioner?
questions.
Yes, sir.
When you referred to wastewater consideration of dealing with the wastewater, are you talking about the aerobic system, or are you talking about stormwater?
I'm sorry, just stormwater.
Okay.
There is a septic tanks, obviously, as Mrs. Coble had mentioned, but really it's just the amount of run water that's coming off of that hill. Right. It was already there, and you can imagine with all it was solid forest. Now there's nothing to add pavement. That's only going to get exacerbated to the road.
There will be engineering that our engineering group does look at, and we will address any runoff, retention, all those things required. So as they're designed, Mr. Mills back there, there will not, if they're designed correctly, and there's, the engineering process, there will not be any more water running off of it than there is today, regardless of how many homes there are.
Okay.
So just want to give you that, at least that assurance. So that will, even though it might not be on the preliminary plat as you see it today, it will be addressed.
Perfect, thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions?
Very good. At the planning commission, did they, I assume you presented the same concerns. Did they mention anything about the green space?
There's actually, it's unique that you mentioned that. It was mentioned by one of the individuals that this is Lewis Avenue. You should have knew what you're moving into. They clearly did not understand the rural aspects. That's why I wanted to make sure I brought these pictures for those of you all. This is not 61st and Lewis. This is 171st and Lewis, which is significantly different than anything else. And so I think that's why maybe that was not considered then.
Okay. But did they talk about any of the landscaping they plan to do for the frontage?
No.
Anything like that?
No.
Entrance features, fencing?
No, and at this point, the way that he's already moved the land, I don't know that there would be any room left to be anything placed in there because he's already advertised half-acre lots being sold with signage and whatnot, and they're. Okay.
And it's not out of the norm because they like to do their best to harmonize with the estate lots that are out there. So that's fairly typical. But as far as planting trees and things like that, a lot of times there is a willingness to make those considerations.
And most properties out there do have a landscaped gate as well. So I think, just being able to align with what the rest of the corridor looks like today and maintain that rural aspect of it.
Very good.
Good question. Alex, is that part of the process that you address when looking at that?
Well, we've looked at the preliminary plat and we had some very specific comments that I've sent back to the engineer regarding the one entrance that won't be allowed. They need to make sure that the plat encompasses the stormwater detention. So, your zoning is a fairly independent process, but immediately upon that, they'll be going through the plating process, and we will not allow it to move forward without those things being addressed. So,
I guess my concern is, here we are at the zoning process, and we've seen some excavation done on this property, so, curious how that's happened. You know?
Yeah, that's a great question. And being advertised and being sold as half acre lots.
Yes.
Yeah, or Teresa, would you like to comment on that as far as the excavation on this lot? Or the grading? Yeah, it looks like they've done some excavation or just some preparation out there for the development.
I would have to check, but I'm not aware of that. There would need to be a development permit, and maybe they've talked with someone at our office. Maybe they're dealing with Lucky on that. I'm just not sure.
Okay.
Just a clarification with Alex, because we talked about this a little bit, and I follow up on the other commissioner's question, but the importance of a second entrance of any type of development like this. I mean, I guess we're not aware of what the future plans are of the additional acres, but that's an absolute that has to happen for safety and traffic, et cetera. Could you say a little bit more about that?
Yes, sir. This development has been through numerous iterations in my 6 years here at the county through different ownership, I believe. They do have a path to come out to 171st Street if they wish. They could also add a second entrance onto Lewis. Either one of those would be acceptable, but a single entrance will not be allowed.
Okay, and stormwater runoff, I mean, these are bar ditches, and we're gonna make sure that whatever happens following up on the detention pond, that no more water is gonna be affecting other properties after this development, if it goes forward. That's our standard, correct?
Correct. That is absolutely correct. We will make sure not only is the flow rates equivalent to pre-development, but the direction of those flows are equivalent. So you can't just take all of the stormwater that was running off in various locations and concentrate it to one point. It has to meet existing conditions. And I would say existing conditions would be before they removed all the trees and that sort of thing. So if they've removed a lot of trees and have done some earth moving without having proper permits and proper construction ponds for that, that's not acceptable either.
I would say that there's well over 4 foot of grade in certain areas.
Question.
You
Is
bet,
there a
Commissioner.
silk screen on the boundaries of the property? The black
In
fencing that's about
certain,
to.
yeah, in some areas, but it's.
Is there any erosion coming on the road in the ditches?
100%. I can't even maintain vegetation control my ditch right now because of what all has come off.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, for sure.
Is anybody from NCOG here?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, we had Kendall.
Kendall, you know, we in our comp plans, I mean, we try to transition. I mean, you know, these were all maybe 2.5 acre. You know, sometime they were 640 acres, and so there has been a transition at some point in time where they're smaller and smaller, you know, higher density. With what the houses and homesteads around there, what were the average lot size? 2.5, 5 acres? I mean, I saw some seem bigger than others.
We've seen some that were a little bit over 2.5, about 3 acres. I think 2.5 to 3 acres would probably be like the average. Originally, the applicant did propose RS3 zoning, which we did not recommend approval for. We thought that was way too dense for that area. Also, with that lot size, I don't think that we could.
RS3, wouldn't you have to have sanitary sewer for that?
Exactly, and with that size, we could not.
There is no sanitary sewer.
Yeah, there is none. There is none. We wouldn't be able to approve that with the DEQ, or we wouldn't be comfortable with that either. So that's why we worked with them and proposed RS1 zoning, which would allow at least half acre and above, and they said that they would most likely have some that were at least an acre and above in that plat as well.
I guess, you know, where lies that happy medium, you know, on a transition basis? We deal in that Owasso and Collinsville. I mean, you got 2.5 acre lots, and then they want to do half acre lots. I mean, you know, people want to live there. you know, people want, you know, what others do, but it has to be controlled and managed and, you know, stormwater runoff. And I didn't think of the detention. I do a lot of aerobic systems myself, and been on a higher elevation. You know, mostly they work fine, and to your question, I mean, it's the responsibility of the homeowner to maintain the aerobic systems. And so, you know, if they don't, ODEQ, you know, other agencies are responsible for that, as well as normal septic systems too. They can be percolating on top of the ground just as much as a aerobic system. But is there any concern, back to your question, is there any concerns about, you know, the thoughts that that's going to migrate, you know, down below, since it's not on a flat level surface?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely looked into that. We didn't find that the property is sitting on any type of floodplain. We have heard the concerns about the runoff and things like that. And again, to Alex's point, we know that that is something kind of outside of our perimeters, and that department will not let that plat move forward unless those things are addressed. And there's multiple stormwater things that were mentioned on that plat whenever it was brought to the engineers, and as far as detention and things like that. So I know for a fact that they won't continue with that platting process until those things are addressed. So yes.
And I would just mention too, as property owners, you have rights as well. So it's always, you have the opportunity to call ODEQ when you suspect there's any kind of issues, smells, things like that. I know we've been city officials, so we've all received those over the years, but you absolutely have that right to protect your property. And if you feel like something like that is going on, to call them and have them come out and do an inspection. Commissioner.
Follow-up question with INCOG. You kind of mentioned, I believe staff recommendation was a no on RS3. Correct. And then, but you are comfortable with 2. Can you say a little bit about what's the difference between 3, 2, and 1, and what is your all's, summarize your position on all 3 of them for this plan?
So 3 is kind of what we would typically see, I would say, in like Tulsa corporate limits, smaller, more dense lots to allow more lots within the area. For RS1, they're typically greater size lots to allow sometimes more agricultural uses and things like that, but that's if there's like a PUD or something on top of it. But mostly in areas like this, and I would say kind of like the Tulsa Hills area where they have already large estates, like 2-acre, 3-acre lots, we typically will try to work with the developer to work with the community around there to make lots that are kind of somewhat similar, but still to allow development in that area, especially if it relates to our comprehensive plan and surrounding comprehensive plans, such as Glenpool. So it's just larger and just bigger lots, essentially, just to match the surrounding area.
So would you say that the RS1 matches the existing area better than 2 or 3?
Absolutely. Yes.
Would you rather see 1 here?
I'd rather see 1 here, yes.
What's the trade-offs that you're aware of with the developer for 1 versus 2?
I think if he wanted to go to like a 2 or a 3, that will allow him to create more lots, to sell more lots, essentially. That's where my thinking process kind of goes. With larger lots, it limits that and limits the density and the more people around there as well.
I do have a question here because it's kind of conflicting on this agenda item. We talk about the zoning request is from AG to RS2 for single family, but then down at the bottom it says the Planning Commission voted 6-2 to recommend that the County Commission approve zoning from AG to RS3.
Yeah.
So
I noticed that.
that's a problem on the agenda. So did the Planning Commission vote to go RS3, or did they vote to do RS2?
We voted for RS1.
Yeah, so we've got some problems.
Yeah, I mean, because it's
Transmental had RS3 in it. Yeah.
Okay.
We might have to table this.
My name's Alan Betchen. I'm the engineer and surveyor on the project. And
Okay, Alan.
Microphone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Name and address for the record. Thanks,
Alan
Jason.
Betchen, 200 North McKinley in Sand Springs. The original application was for RS3 because they were considering a sanitary sewer extension from offsite. After hearing from the neighborhood feedback, we agreed to the reduction in RS1 before the Planning Commission ever came. And RS1 is what's written in the ordinance that's in the packet today. So that is, I want to be very clear, there is no request for anything other than RS1 from the owner. Another
Yeah,
clearing
RS is wrong,
is I'm not in the ownership group in this at all. I'm the engineer and surveyor of record for it. We're just the applicant. So I just want to be clear about that. We have looked at, so as far as the streetscape frontage, there's a detention facility proposed along the south side of the entry road. So there is a green space buffer. It'll be a wet pond, and so there will be an entry feature and wet facility along Lewis Avenue. As far as keeping with the neighborhood, there's 2-acre tracts immediately to the south of this. There's a platted subdivision of 2 acres. And then if you cross 171st Street, which is where the second entrance in a future phase would come in, there's a half-acre subdivision exactly like what we're proposing, maybe even a little more dense, to be honest with you, that's immediately south and abutting this. So this is not out of keeping with what's in the area. You go west and you're over to Elwood Crossing and significant half-acre residential that's to your west. Overall, the property is 98 acres, plus or minus. 108 lots on 98 acres isn't even broaching half acre. That's 9/10 of an acre on average. Certainly we get down to half acre in some of them, but that's not the average density that you're looking at in the development overall. In the first phase, the RS1 is just allowing some modifications from purely a width standpoint. It still has to meet the half acre standards because that's a DEQ requirement associated with it. That's a do not pass go. They will not sign the plat unless every one of them is exactly a half acre, period, in the discussion. So it will not have anything less than a half acre in it. Aerobic systems are designed in such a way that we think of it as a runoff into the system, but the application rates are designed so that it's perked into the lot that it's sitting on. So the space that's required for them is fitted to the house, sized according to the house and the number of bathrooms in that specific house. So the idea is not that they're spraying it and it becomes part of stormwater, it's that it's absorbed on site and treated on site. To that point, the majority of the upland area drains centrally to a detention facility that doesn't cross the neighbor's property to the east at all. There is a portion on the east that does go east across it, but the bulk of the property to the west actually drains to that existing pond that's on the western property and then drains south. That pond is converted into a detention pond, and then a second facility built immediately adjacent to Lewis to make sure that we're mitigating any runoffs that would be coming across onto the neighbor's property. That's something that will be looked at length. Detention reports are reviewed, that's reviewed by the county, and that's all part of the process. As with regards to, the developer was issued an earth change permit for the development that came from the permitting office, and so it's moved. The dirt moving that's happening is under a permit today. If there is erosion control, we'll certainly look into that. If the controls aren't sufficient and make sure that we're getting those corrected, that's a requirement that I'll go back and discuss with the developer. Immediately following this meeting. It's the first I've heard of that. So this is the reality of development and the costs associated with it, and trying to be responsible and get to densities. It's very hard to get to 3 and 4 acre tracts and create a road network that's maintainable for the county and for the developer whenever he originally puts it in, and split those tracts up. What you see as the predominant development pattern is that half acre kind of minimum, and us getting up to some 1 acre lots. That's creating the rural feel, that separated feel, and still giving us the ability to make it an economically viable development. And that's really where those densities come down to. This is by no means a reduction in values in the property area. I mean, you're talking, $600,000 and $700,000 homes are what are going to be on this size of a project. I think it's something that is not really out of keeping, especially whenever you look to a development just to the south of it that is exactly this, and is viable and a good project to bring ad valorem and tax base to the county. This is certainly meeting a housing need, and that's why we're proposing it. I'm happy to answer any other questions and try to clear up any confusion that maybe is out there.
I got two questions.
Please.
One, how many homes are you anticipating to be half acre out of the 108?
They'll be, so the question is everyone will be over a half acre. Whenever you get up to the far west, there's a really steep hill, and I think those are going to end up being 5 acre tracts or something much larger than that. The average is probably sitting somewhere, well, the average is definitively sitting at 0.9 acres because just of the density on it. But you're looking at half acre to 3/4 acre is probably the majority of them until you get to those larger estate pieces that are up on the back of the hill. So.
But your calculation right now is saying spread over the entire development, you're at 0.9, so you're almost 1 acre right now.
Almost. So 108 lots on 98 acres is almost 1 acre. But I don't hear me tell you that those are all 1 acre pieces sitting there. That's an average. I don't want that to be, because there's pieces that just aren't, you have a detention facility. So that's yielding 0 lots for that 2 acre pond.
But a lot of times, you know, I know it's not fully platted yet, but usually you can tell by your preliminary plats, you can get an average size
it's
spread
emphatically
over
that's
that.
where we're looking at on this. That's what all of the development basis has been on.
There could be a couple of huge lots, and then the rest are all half acre.
Yeah, most of them.
I've seen it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You're exactly right. So, but that's why I always relent back to the statement of, I can guarantee you emphatically there will not be any lot that's under half an acre, because it's just not, DEQ won't sign the plat. It's a period, end of statement.
Okay, second question is your request for RS1, or is it for something different?
RS1 so that was the consent that we made at Planning Commission, and we've never asked for anything other than that since that. So I'm not on the agenda side, sorry. I know it's correct in the ordinance, and that's what we paid attention to.
Yeah, and I mean, we've got RS2 and RS3.
But we're gonna have to table this to bring it back in correct form.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we have a choice on that.
That's completely, I wanted to make that clear, so, because I thought that would be the case of what we're talking about. But the proposal is RS1, that's why the resolution's prepared. That's what Planning Commission voted on.
Okay. Did we address the 2 entrances?
The development overall will have 2 entrances. One is going down and connecting to 171st Street, so they meet the separation requirements. We will work through engineering and the platting phase to determine what is it 2 entrances in the first phase, how we get those and what those look like. We always struggle with, I want a meaningful second entrance, and not just something that is, hey, we put two drives that are 150 foot apart and called that 2 entrances and pretended like that dispersed traffic. That's not what's going to happen. But there are options on this, and there is definitively a second entrance proposed. The tract actually goes down and connects directly to 171st Street. And so it would separate out those traffic between those 2 of them.
Okay. Thank you. I think we had one more. Marilyn Rains, 16500 South Lewis, Bigsby. Thank you, Marilyn.
So I'm asking on behalf of my neighbor who couldn't make it. Sorry, how do I do this?
Pull that out for you.
Okay, I'll just have a seat. I sent an email to all 3 of the county commissioners, and good morning, by the way. As been stated, there's a hill that's in between Lewis, between 161st and 171st, and people love going down that hill, and they fly coming down that hill. And one of the neighbors who couldn't make it today said she's pretty much got a blind driveway, and I tend to agree with her. The speed limit needs to be lowered. What's it take to get the speed limit lowered on that street? Is it feasible? It's 50 today.
Alex?
25, maybe? I don't know. I know 25 is not reasonable, but somebody's going to have something really bad happen as my neighbors have stated with all the traffic, construction traffic, heavy equipment, more cars.
We have quite a few hills in my district and District 2, and I know in some cases we've actually had to put a stop sign at the top of the hill to at least slow them down before they head down to kind of minimize the speeding over the top of the hill. That can be a concern. So I'm sure engineering will look at it, and if there's an opportunity and feel like it is a safety concern, we have made those adjustments in the past.
How do I find out what the response is? We will see signage go up, or?
I think speaking right here is a great start because our engineer's right there, and he'll absolutely go look at it.
Okay.
I'll give you my contact information and you can reach out to me later.
Okay.
I've made a note of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Marilyn. I think that's it on my sign-up sheet. Anyone else here to speak on the zoning? With that, yes, sir.
I'm her next door neighbor.
Name and address, sir.
16530 South Louis Avenue.
Sir, can you sit down?
And what was your name, sir?
Kenneth Haddock.
Kenneth Haddock.
DDOCK.
Okay, Kenneth.
I've lived out there for several years, about 50 years, in fact. I have a 5-acre tract. And I'm just, well, there's going to be two. There's also already one house between me and this, and there's going to be another one. But with that 5 acres, the runoff of water is more, if I had all these houses, it would be more than that ditch can handle. Because it's about all the ditch can handle now with just the runoff off my place. I don't know, some of the water is coming out of the hill. And all up until just about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I couldn't mow my ditch in front because it had too much water in it. I couldn't get in there. Water drainage is going to be a problem. They got the flat land across the street. There's all 4-acre tracts. And to allow a half-acre tract here, I think is going to cause a lot of problems with water runoff and, like everybody's saying, congestion, automotive congestion.
Alex, you want to speak to the runoff again?
Well, certainly, I mean, as the engineer, discussed, we're talking about 2 detention ponds, and they will not be allowed to put more runoff into the bar ditches post-development than they do today. Our bar ditches are not intended to handle all of the stormwater. County road design standards we're not like a municipality. We don't design for 100-year storm events. We design for, in some cases, 20 to 50-year design events. So the bar ditches are intended to be full when there's a active rain event. But we also have to maintain them. And I know Brian's been down there a bunch, as was mentioned, and we'll continue to monitor that. As far as the traffic load, traffic counts in the area are fairly low. So as someone mentioned, this might be 400 or 500 cars a day. That will not exceed the capacity of those secondary arterials, either Lewis or 171st Street, based on current traffic counts. So I would not anticipate seeing a large amount of congestion based on that.
Very good. Thanks, Alex. Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it. All right. Seeing no further questions, I'll entertain a motion to close the floor.
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes. Commissioners?
I make a motion that we table this item per the inaccurate information that's been presented to us in the agenda form, and next available meeting.
Second?
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is going to be executive sessions.
Motion to go in executive session?
Second?
Salee,
Yes.
Dunkerly.
Yes.
Sims.
Yes.